Hi, Zizaran here. D4 developer update. They started a bit early, but we're gonna react to it and see what is the season 2 news. So
to stun them.
this is me reacting
Lord
hard.
Zir's army is pushing across Sanctuary in an event called the Blood Harvest, which will always be active somewhere on the map, but will change locations in a cyclical way.
Blood harvests are large-scale open-world events where vampires have overwhelmed an area in the hopes of enslaving the populace, harvesting their blood, and siring more vampires.
Players will venture into these areas to rescue
this already, right?
prisoners, stop
Harvest?
sinister rituals, and hunt for high-value enemies. Of course, they'll be rewarded for their efforts with a variety of new items, as well as the potent blood that fuels their vampiric powers.
In Season 2, the Season of Blood, we're going to be adding 5 new returning endgame bosses for players to engage with once they get into World Tiers 3 and 4. Players will be able to earn the materials to summon these bosses by completing Whispers and by completing Helltide events.
We have some new enemies with powerful elemental attacks, giving players more reason to seek out and equip gear that enhances their resistances.
What sets these new endgame bosses
Harvest
apart
and
is that they
ritual.
offer a new way to farm uniques. So if there's a build-defining unique you're after, you'll be able to target farm specific bosses.
And our most challenging boss that we're going to be adding as part of Season 2 is also going to have an opportunity to drop extremely rare unique items that players have been hunting for. We're also going to be adding some quality of life updates in Season 2. The first of which is we're going to be taking our gem system and making it so when gems drop for the player, you're actually collecting materials. They're going to be stored differently. They're not going to go into your inventory the same way, to help alleviate some of the concerns about inventory space that players have talked about before.
As long as you finish the prologue, you can now choose to skip the rest of the campaign and dive straight into creating a seasonal character. If you previously unlocked a mount in Diablo IV, it will be immediately available to use when you begin your journey through the Season of Blood. And we've made it so that renown rewards persist through seasons, so that the reward is now account bound.
As we do with every new season, we'll be adding a new season journey and a new battle pass filled with new, vampiric themed cosmetics for them to collect. And we'll also be adding some new town portal cosmetics, both in the free and paid versions of our battle pass in season 2. We'll also be making a number of other changes to the game,
That took long enough.
updating unique powers and items, reviewing legendary aspects for different classes. We're going to be updating stats like our resistance values across the game, and a number of other balance tweaks to make sure that the game...
Why is there MTX so shit? I don't understand.
Exciting things for me about working on seasons is that Sanctuary is a big place and there's a lot going on. The primevals and the angelic forces are still very much in play, but I think players are going to enjoy seeing some more human scale dramas play out.
Diablo IV's second season will be our largest content update yet, but we're only getting started. Along with providing new quest lines, powers, and events each season, we'll continue to improve upon established systems by listening to player feedback to make your adventure in Sanctuary the best it can be.
We're incredibly excited for you to explore more corners of Sanctuary, so come join us in the hunt.
Yeah, so you're going to meet Eris during the course of the season. Eris is a vampire hunter who's been trying to thwart Lord Zir for the past the past few weeks and months. Trying to hunt them down and try to eliminate them entirely. As you're going through these things, you'll be kind of going across all of the world. And I know, Antonio, we talked about how, or rather, we have talked before about how there are a number of dungeons we added with the season, right. And you kind of go into some of those part of the quest line.
Yeah, so we have new dungeons that are part of the quest line. You can explore crypts. There's a really cool dungeon at the end when you are going to confront Zir for the final battle. And in addition to that, throughout the story, you will be revisiting some old places that are a bit different now that Zir's minions have come and taken over.
I don't feel like they're that great at generating hype. D4 bad? No, I want D4 to be good, but I actually have pretty high hopes for season 2.
Throughout the season, players are going to be able to acquire up to 22 vampiric powers as they play. And these are designed such that they are, unlike in Season 1 where with Wellington Hearts, we had a lot of very class-specific hearts. There's just more combinations and things for players to select from and play with as they're thinking about their build. These missiles, these spirit missiles that fly out and hit lots of different creatures as you're playing through. So it kind of gives you this opportunity as you're going through packs and dungeons or elsewhere to kind of stack these up and use them to quickly burn down groups or elites that you might have to come across as you're playing. There's other cool things you'll get, like there's abilities for based on other companion skill uses and other things where you can have, where the bats will come down and attack your enemies. happier.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm literally watching this for like, please give me endgame content, and that's it.
Progressing through, you'll be dealing with enemy rogues. You'll be dealing with enemy
that's what you guys are saying too.
necromancers as you're playing, and dealing with their specific like spells and kits that we've created for the season for players to interact with. That players are looking for more
There's
milestones.
not much behind me, trust.
They're looking for more like things to farm, ways to make their characters powerful. So there's some big changes we're making as part of the Season of Blood. And
Lilith is here now.
So now when the player gets into World Tier 3, there's 2 new bosses for them, or 1 returning boss for them to go and engage with.
Okay.
The first is Echo of Varshan, our good boy Varshan that everybody loves, is going to be back in Season 2 for players to be able to hunt down in order to kill, to get various crafting tools they can use to summon other bosses later, but also specifically to get uniques that only drop from Varshan. So every one of the bosses that we add as part of the Season of Blood is going to have their own distinct loot list associated with them, with unique items, and there are some cosmetic
very
rewards as well
easy.
that we'll talk about in a little bit. So that's a reason why you're going to want to go hunt each of these down. Actually, why don't we show? I think we have video of these new bosses.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You see Grigwar summoning in for the first time.
Memory
Very
game.
excited for players to go into that fight. The Beast in Ice in his new lair. And of course, Duriel, Kick of Maggots.
So gross.
Yeah, it's super gross.
Camera
Very
took
fun.
damage.
So yeah, these 3 we obviously we still have Lord Zir. We just don't want to show off the boss fight just yet, but you get a chance to go and obviously fight a version of him in the quest line and a much more difficult version of him later. But one other thing worth calling out as part of this,
I'm
the
surprised
materials
they
that
didn't do a
players are
Nariel.
going to be collecting to use to summon forth these bosses.
I just wanted to mention we're seeing some of the images of
finally!
mount and some of those item art.
Oh, yeah.
Those are also new cosmetics. All right, let's talk about Scrolls of Escape. It's been a little while coming, but Scrolls of Escape will now be consumed automatically if you disconnect while you're in combat. Because this is a consumable item, we feel pretty good about the case where people are, disconnecting on purpose. You're still going to consume that item, so we feel pretty good about this change. And it always sucks to die to a disconnect.
Yes.
It does.
Did make some adjustments to experience in Season 1 as well. We also want players to be able to get to level 100. It's a goal that many players set for themselves, and it should be an achievable goal. And so in Season 1, we saw that there were some players who were getting frustrated. You maybe get to level 75, and you're like, I want there to be more things to do, and this is just feels like it kind of slows down. And we really wanted to smooth that over and make the process of reaching that goal and getting to the end of the season journey feel like an achievable goal for all our players who invest time in the season. And of course, along the way, you're going to be having a lot more cool stuff to do with all of the boss ladder stuff.
That's right.
It's really crazy when there's not much endgame content. Hopefully there will be.
We'll talk more about other changes to experience as we go through this. But moving on for the moment.
Like people are quitting because there's no content.
When you skip the campaign to jump into the world, as many players do at the start of a season, you're going to have more waypoints that start unlocked. All of the rewards that are associated with Renown will persist. So if you had, and you don't have to, you're not going to have to log in on a different character or anything. Like any reward that you've claimed, if you claimed it in preseason, on Eternal, in Season 1,
that's so bad.
On any character, you're going to have that reward automatically when you create your new character in Season 2, and this applies to all of those obols. It applies.
In my opinion, you should have to do the campaign each season as well.
It's just nice to
it's fine that you can skip it after having done it once, but you should have to do it when the game has so little content. It would help them so much to do the season once per campaign.
This is something that's
there's so little to do. It's like 16 hours or less of playtime.
General improvements.
There just needs to be content in the game to do.
Overworld monsters will now match your player level in World Tiers 3 and 4. I know that this is in preseason it worked this way.
I just hope the new endgame content they're adding is good. If not, it's kind of GG
and powerful. And you're not just feeling like, oh, I'm just sort of
for a while. Anyway,
let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. First off, there are a number of changes to mounts, but I want to call out that the one that
do you know they should buff the attacks we have from mount because they look so cool. I'll probably play every season.
Yeah.
It just depends how long am I going to play. Like I'm not going to force myself to play if I'm not having fun.
Close to 100%, I think. It's
well, I'll have fun for anywhere from like 10, 50, 100 hours, right?
Right.
If the choice is now like a D4 season starts the same time as a PoE season, there's no choice right now.
Has gone up just as oh, look at this.
We got some production value.
See, why don't they buff the shit out of these moves?
The player boosting through the barricade there. You also see the player using their dismount skill. And we have some changes
no damage.
related to that as well.
Yes. Oh my god, please.
Some cooldown changes.
No, really? Buff the damage?
So as Adam mentioned, I posted about this on social media.
Why would you buff the cooldown?
And then there's
I don't want to keep spamming the move. I wanted to one-hit things.
Sort of arbitrary, like.
Yeah, we have tons of changes for Nightmare Dungeons coming this season. The very first big change that we have is teleporting to a Nightmare Dungeon from the map will take the players directly inside the dungeon instead of to the dungeon entrance. This will cut down on having the double load screens when you just want to go and play.
These transitions.
We're not just talking about CC on the traps, right?
Right. We're talking about just CC across the board from monsters.
I love Joe Shelley.
In general,
Joe Shelley is my spirit animal, dude.
Yeah. So if I get stunned by a vampire knight, I'm gonna spend less time CC'd.
Right.
Waiting, yeah.
Right. Less time CC'd and less time going back and restarting the Nightmare Dungeon because you died.
Right.
We've changed them to limit backtracking even further, but we also wanted to be conscious of making the dungeons just feel too linear. So we found a good balance where the player can engage in the objectives and the content without having to spend so much time running back and forth, which also contributes to the 40% increase to get to level 100. But as you can see here, here's one of the Nightmare Dungeons that we have for Season 2. In this first objective here, we had our elites that you needed to kill. So as long as you're just on the main path,
this is very easy to do with no backtracking.
You will encounter them, and even if you do make a wrong turn,
it is an improvement, but like this is so easy to make zero backtracking.
Not that significant, so it's like just less downtime in between reaching these objectives.
You can now search and filter your stash. And I think we have video of this. This includes
please be letters.
Search.
Please don't be.
You've got filters down there. You can filter by item type.
Please be text. Please let me
rarity.
input letters.
You can filter by.
Please write a letter.
Items.
Write a letter, or I'm losing my shit.
At the bottom, we've got a text box, so you can search for
fucking
keywords and other text on the item. And this searches across other stash tabs too. So if you take a look at the top there,
it's crazy that was not a given.
Tip right now, but you can see that there are 4 items
there's
in
text.
this tab that fill the criteria and
the technology exists.
Or in this case, there are 3 in that tab.
Can you put this anywhere else where we need search?
Make it easier for players to search through and find out.
Fuck. Why did that take so long?
Well, a lot of our UI UX updates in general are, fueled by feedback that we've received either, through social media or on our forums.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's right. Streamers, you got streamer mode.
Streamer mode.
Does it come with better RNG?
This is
Q-skip?
With the launch of Season 2.
Why?
So on October 17th, Diablo 4 will be available on Steam.
Why?
The nice part about, hey, if you have a Steam Deck, it's another option of being able to play Diablo 4.
Oh shit, that'll actually be really cool, no?
Like on the road with you.
D4 is going to be really good to play on Steam Deck.
Yeah, lots of
Sanctuary on the go.
I think that's pretty much all we're going to get for today. Okay, I mean, we'll see what happens at the next announcement. I think I'm like a little bit now at the point that I don't care about these talks as much, and it's not that important to me. I'm gonna play probably every season, and I'll play anywhere between 10 and 50 hours. If they've added something where I really enjoy it, I will play more. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. The number one thing which Joe did nail was, there's just not enough stuff for people like me to do in the game, right? Like, there just needs to be more stuff. Maybe we'll have to wait all the way till the expansions. It's a lot of people somebody in chat said, like, what are you expecting them to add on such short notice? It's like, well, GGG literally have a smaller team and a smaller budget and are adding 4 to 10 times more content every 3 months, right? So we just want, I think I speak for a lot of people where I was hoping season 2 would be 2 to 3 systems. 2 to 3 systems, the equivalent of Nightmare Dungeons. That's what I was hoping for, because I think they really needed to come out the gate swinging with stuff in season 2. Because season 1, it kind of made sense that season 1 was pretty light, because there's a few things, right? The game is just out, like a lot of people are still like adjusting to that and stuff, and that's fine. And it was developed alongside the game, so I can understand why season 1 was so weak. I don't understand why season 2 would be so weak. I don't understand why they don't want more money either, because there's so many cosmetics they could be adding that would just be really good and easy sales for them. So it's a little confusing. If anything, D4 has made me appreciate and love Path of Exile more, and just how much insane amounts of content. Like, I will probably never bitch as much as I used to on PoE things, just because it could be worse. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for season 2, but yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the react, etc. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching, and sub if you liked the video.